What's up, Pokemon trainers, Pokemon breeders, and Pokemon masters alike? It's Griever back here bringing you guys part 4 of our GenLocke challenge. Part 4 of our Pearl run on the GenLocke challenge, I should say. I don't know what part we're up to right now, probably like 15 or 16 in the grand scheme of things. But either way, what is the GenLocke challenge, you might ask? Well, look no further than right over there. Of course, we explain this at the beginning of every run a little more in depth, of course, because we go over our rewards and our losses and stuff like that. But a GenLocke is pretty much a generation lock, which is its abbreviated version is GenLocke, is simply a variant of Nuzlocke challenges. You guys already know what a Nuzlocke is. It's simply you play the core games, you play the generational games in subsequent sequence. You can mix and match them if you so choose. However, that becomes difficult when trying to import certain Hall of Famers over to another region's game, you know? So that's why, generally speaking, a GenLocke is in order, you know, from Kanto to Johto to Hoenn, etc. And right now, we're at the Sinnoh run of the game. As you guys can tell, we're at the Sinnoh run, and we're more than halfway through it. We've done really good on this run so far, but once again, we did really well on the Hoenn run last time, and yeah, things didn't, just looking at that graveyard, things didn't work out so well for some of our Pokemon. So either way, let's just get underway with part 4. I don't think we reached the end of this particular leg in this part. I'm pretty sure we don't. It's also a little shorter because I think, yeah. So I don't think this is the end, but if I remember correctly, because this was a while ago when I recorded this, but I don't think that this is the final part. I think there's 5 parts to Pearl. So anyways, let's just move on. Let's see what kind of trouble we get into. Okay, so here we go. We're at the Spear Pillar, the Sky Pillar, whatever it's called. Yeah, it's Spear Pillar, right? And now, of course, we always showcase when we fight up against Team Galactic and all that fun jazz. And this time it's up against Cyrus, who is trying to summon the greatness, summon the power of space itself. And yeah, I'm leaving these seasons. See, that's the thing. The parts are going to get a little more longer as I've gone on. I think I mentioned that last time. The parts are going to get a little longer because you sort of leave the thematic, you know, the theatrics in the video and stuff. Instead of just jumping straight to the Cyrus fight, we showcase, you know, Palkia being summoned and all what that implies. Once again, I'm of the opinion that the Sinnohs, I hold to the theory that the Sinnohs are simply, the Sinnoh legendaries are simply very powerful Pokemon, with levels of ability. Like, yes, he can control, Palkia can control space to a degree. Dialga can control time to a degree, right? But I still hold to the fact that Mew is the ancestor of all Pokemon, and that the Sinnoh Pokedex and the legendaries and stuff, it's more of a fanatical. It's more because we find ourselves with these people, they're very religious, almost. They're almost like religious zealots when it comes to the legendaries. So I think it's more of a fable more than anything else, and their story has been exaggerated over the time. Like, they can control time and space to a degree, once again, so they must be the creators of the universe, with Arceus and his 1,000 arms. Yet Arceus is never shown, or Arceus, whatever, is never shown to have any arms. So yeah, very, very strange. That I think it's more like a religious telling. This game is very heavily sort of almost like a cult. Like, Sinnoh region is almost cult worthy in that regard, and the rest of the world is more scientific, like Oak and Elm and everybody, like, oh yeah, Mew's first. So, and I've made videos on that before. I've described that many times, that I personally hold to that theory that Mew was still the first Pokemon we know of. The original Pokemon. And boom, so now we're going to fight up against both Mars and Jupiter here with our lovely help from Zell. Now, funnily enough, if any of you checked out my Diamond Nuzlocke run, when I got to the Spear Pillar, I was not prepared. Oof. I was not prepared at all for these back-to-back battles. And unfortunately, what happened was Zell sort of screwed me, or Barry. Our rival sort of screwed me in this double battle very hard, so I have very bad memories of this. I ended up losing a couple of Pokemon, and by the time I got to the Cyrus fight, I had no chance. You know, yes, I was healed up and stuff, but I believe I only had like 4 Pokemon remaining, maybe 3, because this double battle went so poorly where Wally ended up killing me, or not Wally, Barry ended up like assisting the enemy to killing like 2 of my Pokemon. And it was awful. It was an awful experience. I actually sort of forget what happened. I probably blocked it out. But yeah, it was not a good time. It was not a good time. This time, however, we seem to be doing a little bit better. We started off with Heracles here, up against the 2 Bronzors. I'm curious as to why we didn't start with Ancalagon for the flamethrower, but maybe there's always the option that maybe I jumped into this battle. Normally I save and I look up the members, but I was probably so focused on Cyrus that I didn't actually care to see what the Jupiter and Saturn, or Jupiter and Mars, were going to pull out. So, I mean, Crunch is being effective enough here, you know. The typing, though, is a little off, right? And I assume the things have Levitate, so that's probably why I'm not using a ground-type move. That being said, maybe Bronzor doesn't actually have Levitate, and if so, I'm being an idiot. And then out comes the Golbat to replace the Bronzor. I decided to keep going for the Crunch, and I'm going to try to get rid of both Bronzors. This goddamn Golbat comes out with Giga Drain. I'm like, oh, no, no, no. Holy shit, thank Christ that Giga Drain is not Stab. The special attack of a Golbat is probably very weak, because I know my special defense ain't up to snuff. I've got high defense, not high special defense. Holy shit. And then a Gyro Ball, and it's like, how did I just survived 2 super effective attacks? Heracles held on, and I was freaking out, guys. Like, I thought that Giga Drain was going to kill me. And I was like, oh my god, I survived it. Then the Gyro Ball, and I immediately wrote off Heracles. I immediately wrote him off. I was like, yeah, nope, switching. Thankfully, the Golbat doesn't go for a Pursuit. Potentially, probably has Pursuit and could have. I jump right into Copper. Okay. Whew. And now a Sludge Bomb on the monster. Yeah, like, start hitting this bitch. Start hitting Zell's Pokemon, because, you know, I don't deserve this kind of abuse. You know what I'm saying? So then in comes the Body Slam on the Bronzor, which actually ends up taking it out. And yeah, it's all good there. So the Golbat's already at a weak amount of health there. And now the Pure Ugly comes to rear its ugly head. It's quite an ugly head, in fact. So Aerialist, once again, the Munchlax is taking the damage, and I'm good with that, because I got some Thunderbolting to do. I'm going to get rid of this Golbat immediately. Now, granted, some people, like, a lot of people try to get rid of, like, one and leave the Bronzor or the Golbat in, so you don't have to deal with both Skuntank, I believe, and Pure Ugly at the same time. But I just don't care. So the Munchlax is using that whole stockpile swallow bullshit. But now we have to deal with both a Pure Ugly and a Skuntank at the same time. They're aces. 46 and 45 respectively. Even Copper isn't that strong, so I'm a little bit underleveled. Sometimes I worry about being overleveled, because I did a lot of grinding in Gym before I fought Gym 3, and I thought, man, I'm like almost level 30. I'm in my 30. Is this really like I'm a 29, 30? And no, that's what the gym leader has. It's like 29s and stuff. It's like, holy shit. So when you first enter that town, you do not fight. If you've just been playing normally like I have, you do not fight that gym. You are going to be 6 levels under. You need to go down, do all the routes, and go through places, and go to Pastoria and all that shit, right? Before fighting that gym. Sometimes you have to pass by. But yeah, we seem to be doing alright here. We're not poisoned, so it's fine. But we do take a slash, and if that's a crit, it's not even a crit. A crit might have killed me. So I'm looking at that going, alright, holy shit. I Thunderbolt the Skuntank, and got him down to the red. He's got a berry, but goddamn, Copper's special attack cannot get through the bulk of these two fuckers. So now I'm like, okay, And I'm worried, like, holy shit, like, that poison jab, had that gone on Copper, Copper might have died. Like, I am taking this a little way too lightly, you know what I mean? So, he brings out the Staraptor, and I'm like, yes, some close combat, some Brave Bird, some Aerial Ace, whatever he's going to use. He's going to use something. So, I'm like, alright, well, I got to switch. I'm just going to straight up switch. And I'm deciding on, alright, who do I really switch to? Who's going to be the bonus? And my first thought is Needle Boy, because, once again, the poison jab and all that shit, it's not going to affect me. You know, it doesn't matter. The poison abilities aren't going to affect me. I don't believe either one of them have anything super effective against me. You know, Aerial Ace, that's not super effective. I don't think they, between their move pools, they don't have anything that can actually damage me. Close combat. It's like, finally, you did something. And boom, that close combat does over half. It does all the way a critical hit. Don't know if it mattered. It might not have. But I really do think it did. And boom, it does take down the pure ugly. So, wonderful that, right? The poison jab, once again, we're locked in now. Level 43, we're a little under-leveled, as I said, but level 43, we're good to go here. You know, Skuntank's at half. A Golbat comes out. But I'm Needle Boy. I'm Needle Boy, man. Now, I would love to launch a Sludge Bomb on these guys, right? But I'm just like, alright, do I surf? What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. And so the Staraptor decides to go for Takedown. And it does quite a bit of damage, honestly, to that Skuntank. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not that upset because I went for Strength. And I hit the Skuntank. One way or another, we were going to beat that Skuntank. So now all that's left is a Golbat. You can handle a Golbat. Strength, Surf, something. And we do actually level up to level 44. So it's like, alright, we're right there. We're right there, though. Like, we're just about a level or two under, but we are right there. Right? So an Aerial Ace does okay damage, not bad. But our Strength attack, which once again, we're a special attacker, not a physical fighter. But still, Strength is pretty good, so we're going to take this thing out. There's just no question. Air Cutter, I did not know, attacks both in a double battle. I was not aware of that. Air Cutter is a good goddamn move. But between a Strength here, this Strength might be enough to kill, actually. Depending on the Golbat's remaining. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. I don't think the crit mattered either. A normal, unless it was a low roll, pretty sure that Strength was going to take him out no matter what. So we do beat Commanders Mars and Jupiter, and they are beaten. They are devastated. We win. Yes. Okay. So. Now. I'll help you with this. Yeah. So what Zell does, our rival, he ends up healing us. So now we can go on to face off against Cyrus. And I see that Pokeball back there. I see it. I want that item. And oh, Palkia, the creation of a new galaxy. It's like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. And boom, here we go. The Lake Trio or whatever they're called, the emotional trio, because they're emotions, aren't they? Like love, being of emotion, being of love, and being of something. And Mesprit seems to be the leader one. Seems to be a little special. But yeah, the red chain, it crumbled away to nothing. It's like, oh my god, what's going on? It's like, yeah, I won't allow this. I will still capture those, and I will make this happen. I will have my revenge. See, once again, I don't fully... I think teams have not really had much... Everyone praises this guy, the Galactic Boss Cyrus. I really don't think he's that deep of a character. I think he's literally a little boy. He's got small man syndrome. He's a little boy in a man's body who hates the world the way it is, and instead of trying to fix it internally, he's like, he's got the little child. Like, everyone praises his idea, but he's got this little man's idea. He's got this child's mindset of, well, just erase it, just clean slate and start over. I can't fix, because he's not willing to put in the effort and to work at it. And it's just like, yeah, so he's basically, yeah, like, he's not that impressive. He's not that deep. I never thought Cyrus was a good villain. I thought he was a whiny brat. He's a whiny brat in a man's body, pretending to be super deep and and philosophical and all this shit. But at the end of the day, he's like, I can't fix the problem. It's too hard. Life's too hard. So fuck it. Let's erase and start again. That is literally his deal. That's one-dimensional villain, guys. I'm sorry. This Giovanni was just a mafia boss. Was a fucking Italian mob boss. He was badass. You know? And Archie and Maxie, their whole thing was like, we're all about the land. We're all about the water. And it's like, alright, so they were environmentalists, and they were both misguided, but you recognize that, you know? And I never understood why Gyarados came out next. After we beat the Honchkrow there, right? Because we start off with Copper and we're all good here. We're thunderbolting our way to victory. Then I realized later on that Gyarados had Earthquake. That's why he brought out the fucking... So, had I decided to be clever or fancy or something like that, might not have gone so well. And that Night Slash, holy shit. Yeah, this Weavile is no joke. And that Gyarados with Earthquake would have been no joke. Had it been faster than me, god damn. I'm not sure if the crit mattered there, but I'm getting a lot of crits in my favor. So, it's fair to say. And now a Crobat. Can I Thunderbolt it without dying? That's the real question. And do I chance it at 28 HP? Am I going to chance losing Copper just because of the super effectiveness? I got to be sure that A, I outspeed him, and B, that Thunderbolt's a one-hit KO. And by the looks of it, I don't have faith in that. I don't have faith that I can probably outspeed it, I would assume. Yeah, so we take a bite attack. And that might have been enough to do 28 damage to Copper. I can see it. And so we take a second one. We're just going for the return. We're not trying to be fancy here. We're just doing high damage dealing. Return is not high damage dealing, apparently. So then we take another bite. Gotta be careful around these Crobats. They have like Poison Jab, Cross Poison, all this shit. So I go for the Dragon Breath, A for stab, and B for paralysis, because it does about the same as return at this point. This thing, and immediately uses a full restore before even getting into the yellow. I'm like, okay. Granted, I still think I made the right move in recalling Copper. I don't think Copper would have survived the bite. And we finally get the paralysis, which is cool. So now the thing is definitely going to be slower than everything I pull out. And we almost get into yellow. Not quite. There's that cross poison I was so worried about. And goddamn, it doesn't do as much, but once again, we're special defensive, and we're also highly defensive. Like, Shion's a little more of a bulk dragon than anything else. Hard to raise, as I said. Raising that Swallow is no joke. Two legs of the run now, I've had to raise that fucking thing, and it's not fun. It is not fun. So now we switch out to our Nido King, Nido Boy. The Dallas Nido Boys. And immediately, because of the Confused Ray, I decided to switch again and go to Ancalagon, who's back at full strength anyways. Takes a bite, it's probably going to do like 20. Holy shit. Yeah, I was about to say, that better be a crit. I'm not that fucking weak. So I go for the super effective Ancient Power. I go for Ancient Power. Probably trying to get the stat boost as well. But that nearly kills him. That nearly gets him. And now he's paralyzed, he can't do anything more. I just go straight for it, right? This cannot be, I cannot possibly lose. I'm surprised he didn't, you're telling me Cyrus didn't have one more full restore? I'm surprised at this point. Paralyzed, down to one, they didn't use it, but maybe he only had the one. The AI can be weird. AI can always be weird. Either way, boom, we ended up actually defeating Cyrus without losing anything. And once again, this is where I lost my diamond run. Granted, the team was a lot weaker. I wasn't as prepared. My rival was trying to kill me. So there was a lot there. But we survived. We survived pretty well. And this is where we just quickly grab Palkia. We throw the Master Ball, whatever. Once again, we don't use I always allow legendaries, okay? But for the same reason that we didn't use whoever in last game or whatever. But yeah, I'm okay with using legendaries, not scripted. Scripted legendaries in an area where there are no other Pokemon to find and stuff, that doesn't count to me. So I don't... So Palkia is not a viable Pokemon to use at this point. I've never had to make an exception for that, but yeah. Scripted legendaries don't count. If I catch one of the fucking Lake Trio, or if I get a... I don't know, there's like... How many legendaries are there? Like 14, 15? If I manage to find a fucking Darkrai somehow, then yes, I can catch the damn thing and use it. But I'm not gonna... Yeah. And... Oh yeah, because everyone said that Palkia back in the day is like, oh, it's the dildo Pokemon. Yeah, because it was... Yeah. So boom. And now, we're at the next gym. The 8th gym. After doing all that shit, we are officially at the 8th gym. Let's go. Let's see. Alrighty, we're starting here, the 8th gym. Now, I believe this takes a little bit of our time. Not gonna lie. We haven't had any encounters in a while. I think I got a lot of repeats. I got a lot of like barrels or some shit, you know. Things that I just ended up killing instead of capturing. So not a whole lot of captures happening. Maybe I get something in Victory Road though. I don't know. Oh, spoilers! I make it to Victory Road. Wow. Yes, I definitely do make it to Victory Road. How far we get after that is a different question. So we start off with Dragoon, who's now level 50. Like, we've raised up all our dudes. You know, at this point, after the Spear Pillar and stuff, we've only raised them up by about 4 levels, as you guys can tell. Like, you know, 4 or 5 levels. But, once again, level 44 as a starting trainer. You know, so we should be a little bit stronger. And I believe Volkner, the gym leader, has level 49 or 50 or something like that. So, it was well within the range. Not that I do level caps. I think level caps is not stupid. It's just, in certain games, it's almost fucking impossible. Like, when I did a run on this channel with a bunch of people, right? And everybody was saying, okay, you have to go up to, you know, your gyms, because we were all playing different games and we're all challenging each other and stuff. I forget what we called it, but we were basically playing tournament style. Like, you play through the game as, not a Nuzlocke, but you play through the game, and then after you beat your gym, you would battle everybody else, and we would have different rounds and that kind of stuff, right? And we had a lot of fun doing it. It was with mostly Miss Content's peeps, most of his channel guys. Like, Fi was in there, Clover, Misk, Band, Fuse, a lot of people, right? So we did this, and I remember that because I had chosen to play Leaf Green or Fire Red or something like that, I was like, oh, well, this is going to be awesome, because when I get to my next gym is going to be like level 44. And that's what I get to beat for the next 2 gyms. So I'm gonna raise my dudes up to level 44. And initially everyone was like, oh yeah, because I had lost my battle due to the fact that I was facing off against level 17s. Well, Brock's strongest is level 14. So I was, you know, and in early levels, those 3 level, 4 level difference matters. So I was facing like level 18 or something with a level 13 or something like that, you know, because it was supposed to be, you just play through the game normally, you try not to grind all the way. But if you do, it's fine. But like, the idea was just play the game normally like you normally would, have fun, and, you know, if you have some 13s, some 12s and stuff, but don't go over your gym leader. It was a level cap tournament, right? But funnily enough, everyone decided to change the rules when I got to Gym 5. Yeah, I didn't like that. It was like, well, it's unfair because Gym 5 for everyone else is like level 36. You're allowed level 44, and I'm like, or whatever it was. It was something crazy, and I was like, but it was unfair when I did it. It was unfair when I went through Gyms 1 and 2, and your guys' level cap was way higher, and I lost battles due literally to level difference. And when it was my time, because that's the thing, it's fair if you stick to it the whole way through for all 8 gyms, right? It's fair. because sometimes you're going to get screwed by the level cap, other times you're going to get a bonus for the level cap. But that's the idea. That's what makes it fair. It's not unfair, but they made it unfair, and I was really pissed off about this. I was really pissed off. They made it unfair by saying, yeah, no, everyone's going to be around the same. We're going to call the level caps. About halfway through the tournament, they changed the rules and said, yeah, we're all going to have the same level cap because there's too much disparity and stuff. I'm like, but that's the advantage of the game you chose. That's the point. I chose Fire Red Leaf Green. I get screwed in early levels against someone like for Black and White or whatever, but I get a bonus in the late game for levels. Like, that's the pros and the cons, right? So I just remember that, just walking into Vulcaner's gym here. I just remember playing that tournament, and I was really ticked that they changed the rules halfway through. So I got fucked in the beginning due to a rule, and then they changed said rule when it was in my benefit to fuck me a second time. So I had a lot of fun with that tournament, but you can see that I believe the streams are still up, but you can see that I was pissed off, and there was a couple of guys there saying, you're being really petty, and I'm like, I'm not being petty, I'm pissed. You know? Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember arguing that. I was not happy. I was not happy at that, because it once again, it was totally unfair. It was against me. It was 100% in their benefit and always a disadvantage to me. Early game, disadvantage because I chose Fire Red Leaf Green. When it was my advantage in late game, they changed the rule. And everybody voted on it like I didn't fucking start the goddamn tournament. So, yeah, that was kind of weird. But yeah, I do forget exactly, why did I bring that up? Oh, because we were walking into Vulcaner's gym here and looking at the level caps. The level cap, that's why. Because I don't play, none of my hardcore Nuzlocks, none of my regular Nuzlocks, I don't play level caps. The only time I did do level caps was that tournament. I think that's what it was. That's why I brought it up. Because it was my only experience with level caps, and I'm never going to do that again, because the one time I did it was not such a great experience. As I said, I had fun outside of that, and I still won and lost, you know, generally how I would have. But I was pissed off at that. It did feel like it was... I know it wasn't a personal attack, but it... At the time, it sort of felt like it, because it only disadvantaged me. It did not disadvantage anybody else to change the rule. So my one experience with doing the gym leader level cap thing was not great in that regard for that particular rule. So that's why I don't play normal Nuzlocks, hardcore Nuzlocks, even if I change up my hardcore rules or whatever. Like this one, for the GenLocke and stuff. It's my general hardcore Nuzlocke rules that I follow. But I just don't do that. I just don't do the level cap thing. I try to keep it fair. You know, I don't grind my guys up to level 100 and go through a Nuzlocke. But at the same time, I think that's just... If you're going to play a Nuzlocke, the idea is to challenge yourself, not to... You're supposed to win the challenge, but you're supposed to play the challenge. You know what I mean? So farming or cheaping the game doesn't make you a winner. I don't think anybody would accept... I know there's so many people on Reddit that say, oh no, you can do this, you can do that. It's like, no, you can't. I'm sorry, Nuzlocke has 3 to 4 core rules that must be followed. If you ignore any of them, you're not playing a Nuzlocke. You can play however you want, but don't call it a Nuzlocke if you're not following what makes a Nuzlocke, right? Any additional rules you add is for your own benefit, but if you don't follow the core things, don't call it a lock. Simple. Call it a challenge, call it your personal best, but don't call it a Nuzlocke. So I see so many people on Nuzlocke subreddits saying like, oh, well, I got fucked over here, here, and here, so I'm allowing 1 revival. No. Sorry, that's not a Nuzlocke. When a Pokemon is dead, they're dead. That is a core rule of Nuzlocke. I think there's only 2 actual main core rules, though I think there's actually 4, but the 2 rules are, when a Pokemon faints, regardless of reasoning or situation, they're dead, and they cannot be revived. That is the point. You are not allowed to heal a dead Pokemon. That is a Nuzlocke core rule. The moment you decide to mulligan it or change it or something, it's not a Nuzlocke. And I believe I've allowed mulligans in my past or whatever like that. And I would accept if someone said, yeah, that wasn't a real Nuzlocke because you allowed a mulligan. I'd be like, yeah, okay. I agree. And then the other one is 1 Pokemon per route. These two are the basic core rules, and I still think there's 2 or 3 more, like nicknaming your Pokemon is a must. That's a core rule. Battle style to set has been argued that it's a core or not. I treat it as a core rule, but yeah. So yeah, but those rules, if you break any of those rules, it's no longer a Nuzlocke, you know? But I've seen people argue it on the subreddit. It's like, but it's your challenge. You play however you want. Don't let the internet tell you. It's like, no, that is not the way it works. Nuzlocke was established as being this set of rules. If you don't follow them, that's okay. But it's no longer a Nuzlocke. You did not win a Nuzlocke if you revive a Pokemon. Sorry. You did not win that game. You did not win that challenge. You beat the game. You didn't complete a Nuzlocke. Simple as that. And I've seen that so many times of people trying to be these like liberal assholes about it. And being like, oh no man, you got to play however you want. It's however you choose to play and blah blah blah. And don't let anybody tell you, make up your own rules. It's like, no. You're allowed to make up your own rules in addition to the real rules. Like I do, my hardcore rules, right? But that's why I separate. Here are the additional rules I follow. Here's the main rules of a Nuzlocke that can never be broken. If you break these rules, you fail the challenge. I don't know why that's so complicated. It's not insulting. It's not bitching at anybody. It's just the facts. You know? If you don't beat the other team in the championship, you don't get a championship, right? If you don't win the Super Bowl if you don't go to the Super Bowl and win against the opposing team. You know, there's just no ands, if or buts. If your score is lower than the other score, by the end of the 4th quarter, you lost. You did not win that Super Bowl. There's no retries. There's no, you know. But it's very funny to me. I've been reading that a lot lately. Maybe I should stay off the subreddits. That's always a potential. And why the hell is there a water type in electric gym? I'm sick and tired of this random guys. Like we've been fighting electric types this whole time. Barrel. What the fuck does a beaver have to do with electricity? You know? Like I would accept in a gear like I would accept a couple of steel types, you know? Electricity, metal, sort of go hand in hand, right? So I would accept some metal types here, right? But water type is literally the like absolutely not of all this. So I don't know. I find it very strange that we fought a barrel right before Volkner, which clearly we can't seem to figure out the puzzle. I'm probably gonna fade to when I do figure it out here soon. I got something screwed up. Oh, well, I'm going to fight this guy first, apparently. Oh, so he was the second last trainer. There was one more trainer here. Alrighty. See, Steelix I sort of get. I would argue that would be a more acceptable. But it'd be like, once again, if I'm in a fire gym, and all of a sudden an Ivysaur comes at me, I'm going to be like, this is a fire gym? What the fuck is a grass type doing in a fire gym? You know? I'm not saying they need to be perfectly monotype, but that's what dual typing is for. You have different electric dual types. You know? But once again, I would accept where this is sort of a gear machine city sort of idea, powered by electricity. I would accept the steel types, you know, because Magneton, Magnemite, all that shit. But, like, a Medicham. What the fuck is a psychic fighting type who was ugly as shit to begin with? But what the fuck is this thing doing in an electric gym? What the hell does high jump kick and Psybeam have to do with electricity? Machinery. What the hell is this guy doing here? You know? I mean, I'm still going to sludge bomb and kill his ass, but still. It's just weird to me. I wasn't able to one-shot him, though. That is so sad. And boom. Oh no, it's a detect, of course. One of the most annoying guys to fight is when they, like, when you're not playing PvP and you're playing PvE, when they use detect, it's so fucking irritating. It's like, listen, you're not a competitive battler. Get out of here. Okay, so do I figure it out this time? Okay, so I switched up something. Oh, there we go. Okay, I figured it out. I switched some things around. I'm still paralyzed from 2 guys. I'm going to start off with Heracles. Not a bad start. Our Rhydon is, I mean, he's an electric type user, right? I think he does have 1 counter to my Rhydon there. I think he's got like a steel type or something. But does he have a Magnezone? I know he has a Luxray. And we start off with Raichu, which immediately we're like, yeah, okay. Heracles. Heracles got this. Fight, Earthquake time. Yep. And Brick Break. This dude has an answer. And it's, you know what? Raichu should not be underestimated there. That was a lot of damage. I know it was only a ×2. But the fact that our defense is quite high as a Rhydon, that means Raichu's attack had to be substantial. Even with a great move like Brick Break. One of the best fighting moves. Ever since it was introduced, it's like my go-to fighting move. I take it over everything. But, goddamn. Like, good on you. Oh, right. Octillery. That's the weird one. Which, once again, why the hell does this guy have an Octillery? I mean, maybe hydropower, in a sense, you know, because they're right on the sea. Electricity, you know, that kind of idea to fuel the power plants. I don't know, but the Octillery throws everybody for a loop. So I immediately switch out. I go to Shion because water types are not gonna hurt this bitch. I don't know why I didn't go to... Oh, I didn't go to Sceptile. I didn't go to my Dragoon because he's paralyzed and he's weak, right? So I just go for the neutral attacks like Aerial Ace and stuff. Not doing that much. And this thing does have an ice type. It has Aurora Beam. Not Ice Beam, but Aurora Beam. That's gonna... Yeah, holy shit. So I need to switch. And I can't switch into Nidoboy because, you know, water types stuff. But I'm hoping here it's gonna go for another Aurora Beam. Not the water type move, right? So... But he doesn't. He goes for the Octazooka. The Octazooka, whatever it is. And that is one heavy dealing water type attack. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, can I survive one more? Technically, no. I cannot. So I'm like, do I have to double switch? Do I really need to switch again? I'm like, do I chance changing into Copper because he's paralyzed? He's only got 81 left. I mean, it's still going to hurt. It's not like it's going to be not very effective. So what I end up doing here is I do switch into Copper. I take the chance. He goes for the Aurora Beam. I don't get him. Why would he go for it? Once again, it'd be neutral damage, not super effective against Charizard, so I don't get it. Thankfully, it doesn't do very much, and I chance the Thunderbolt. This thing has Bullet Seed as well. What the hell? What is this thing? Granted, I believe the Bullet Seed would do less overall than what an Octazooka would do. But of course, I'm paralyzed, I can't move, and I'm like, oh my god, like, what am I going to do here? And I think this is where I finally say, fuck it, and use a full restore. Or do I just use a Hyper Potion? Now, I have one full restore to my name, because once again, normally... But right before the Elite Four, if I ever get, when I get to the Elite Four, that's when I look up, you know, on Cerebi and stuff, and I find all the full restores, all the max potions in the game, all the caves, all the bullshit areas, and I just go and find as many healing items as I possibly can. But up until, you know, Victory Road, I don't bother with that. You know, I just use what I find along the way. But thankfully, because I used the full restore, I'm both healed and no paralysis, so I can quickly use Thunderbolt. It was worth it, you know, because there was a chance that between the switch outs, a wrong, you know, Octazooka versus an Aurora Beam goes wrong or something like that, I might have lost, you know, somebody. So I decided to just full restore Copper. It sucks to use up a potion, but at this point, like, would you rather sacrifice a Pokemon, or would you just use up one of your items, even with the item clause? Right? So I just immediately go for Hidden Power Psychic, because I really don't have any other answer here. And a critical hit only does that much, yeah. If that was normal, I'd be like, yeah, okay. So the Luxray is out here. And using Charge Beam, which is like, okay, it's like, yeah, you're not doing much, but I'm like, wait a minute. Your special attack is rising. That is not good. I need to switch. I need to kill your ass. So I'm going right back into Heracles for an easy Earthquake, because Charge Beam ain't gonna affect me. I don't know if he's got anything else. Does he have, like, I don't know what he would have. I guess Crunch? Yeah, lo and behold, because I knew he had Bite, so he's going to have Crunch, which is an attacking move, not special attack, so it's fine. I have high defense. It only did like 20 odd damage, 30 damage. And this Earthquake is definitely, it was going to one-shot him probably anyways at their respective levels of 49, so. And the final guy is a Ambipom. Like, this guy is no electric type trainer. I'm sorry, having 2 electrics out of 4 does not make you an electric type trainer. But we just go straight for the Earthquake anyways on Ambipom here, who ends up using agility to raise up the speed. We're just going to go straight for the 100, see how much damage we can get off on an Ambipom. Let's see, how much? Half? Yep. Red? Yep. Oh, dead. The defense on that thing. Granted, we have very high attack power on our Heracles. Heracles is our highest attack using Pokemon. So, boom. We do end up beating Volkner. Fantastic. And we didn't lose a single guy. So, we've beaten all 8 gyms. We haven't lost a single Pokemon yet. I think we're doing really well. We're doing really well, considering we lost 1, as you can tell by the graveyard. We lost 1 in our Kanto run. We lost 2 in our Hoenn run. So we're sort of making up for that because we were living on easy time. Easy time in Johto. Johto should have been where you lost a lot, but yeah. And boom, we're past. Clearly, we didn't catch anything Victory Road or what have you. We're at the Elite Four, and here we go. It's time for our rival battle. Let's go. Let's go. Alright, 6 Pokemon. Starting off with the Staraptor. Let's go. Nido Boy. Starting us off. I don't know why, but he is. And we take the Intimidation hit. And I don't really have... I mean, I have Sludge Bomb. I learned Earth Power eventually, as you guys can tell. Or I relearned it, I should say, after not needing strength anymore. I probably used a heart skill for that. So, boom. Oh, the Staraptor was poisoned. This is fantastic. So, thing decides to use Steel Wing on me. Does a fair amount of damage, but the poison's going to kill him. Yep. Boom. We managed to kill the Staraptor, and we didn't even start off with the Raichu. That's fan-damn-tastic. Then jumps out the Empoleon. Empoleon. Level 53. We're just going to go straight for the Earth Power. Because this is Steel type. It's going to be super effective. And it does... Oh, not enough to kill. It's still super effective, though. It does very, very well. Shadow Claw. Once again, if I had had Sheer Force, maybe that would have done something. Surprisingly goes for a critical hitting Shadow Claw rather than a Water type move. I'm surprised. Doesn't heal up. We use Earth Power, and boom, we've gotten rid of his starter. We got rid of Empoleon with a Nidoking. It's like, wait, what? I'm amazed that happened, but it is what it is, right? There we go. So then he sends out a Snorlax. Of course, we knew this was coming because of the Munchlax. This is where I'm like, alright. Why I'm not laying Toxic Spikes is beyond me. But, we go for a Sludge Bomb. It does fairly well. Immediately goes for Rest. As I said before, I should have went for Toxic Spikes to start. Granted, it wouldn't have done much. It wouldn't have affected Staraptor, because that's what we would have done. The Sleep. And so when I'm regretting using the Toxic Spikes, I'm like, well, it wouldn't have affected anybody anyways. So now, laying out Toxic Spikes at this point is probably our best bet for the remainder of the fight, because it wouldn't have affected Staraptor unless he changed out. And Empoleon's a Steel type, so it wouldn't have affected him. And then once again, Snorlax would have used Rest and gotten rid of the poison immediately. So this is where we decided to switch out to Dragoon. I think Nidoboy's done enough killing the starter plus the Staraptor. We go in Dragoon while the Snorlax is still sleeping. And this is where we do what is the best move in the game, ladies and gentlemen. What is the MVP of moves? Leaf Blade, baby. And let's look at that damage. Let's look at it. I mean, this is a Snorlax. I know it's a crit, but it's a Snorlax. And this thing has Earthquake. God damn, I'm glad I switched. So he wakes up, he uses Earthquake against the Dragoon. I mean, that's not going to do shit. And then we're going to Leaf Blade, and he doesn't heal up his Snorlax. So that crit totally mattered because it would have been definitely a 3-hit, I would argue. Without it, unless I got a low roll or some shit. Or a high roll, I guess it might have been able to be a 2-hit. Out comes a Rapidash, level 49. Thing's immediately poisoned, just like we planned. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to take a Fire Blast to the face. I'm going to switch back out to Heracles, our top attacker, though Dragoon has the MVP of moves. Boom. Once again, what did I say? Fire Blast. Yeah, because this thing doesn't like learn Flamethrower. It learns like Fire Spin at like level 50 or some shit. So definitely taught it Fire Blast. And boom. Holy shit, that did a fuck ton. And it's like, oh, I see why now, because it was a critical hit. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, it did half. It did half. This thing decides to use Bounce. Bounce. I mean, yeah, you avoided the Earthquake. Great. But you're still poisoned. You're wasting your time. Bounce is going to do fuck all. Actually, it did it quite a bit. Then another crit. Double crits. Still only brought me down to 75. Boom. Earthquake is going to take out the Rapidash without question. Without question. And boom. There goes a poisoned ass horse. Or a unicorn at this point. 2 more left. A Roserade. Roserade, whatever. We gotta switch from this bitch. And the poison spikes disappear from the feet once again. So maybe the toxic spikes was never going to be very viable against this guy, against our rival. So we immediately switch to Ankelagon the Black, the greatest dragon in all of fantasy. And boom, we get Shadow Balled. And I'm like, whatever. Oh, my special defense fell. This is so sad. How about you take a flamethrower to the face? How about you see what my special attack IV with my shiny black coat combined with a flame? Yeah, he fucking did. He's dead. There was no question that was going to be a one-hit KO. No question in my mind. Boom, no problem there. And then a Heracross to end it off, of course. But no big deal once again. Level 50. Looking good. I love Heracross. I wish I had caught a Heracross. But unfortunately, our rival has the Heracross. Flamethrower it. Boom. Done. Done like dinner. 100% defeated. And this is where Zell loses. That's our final rival battle. Absolutely wonderful, that. And that right there ends part 4. So meaning that, once again, I told you guys, I sort of spoiled it, but we have one more part to play to see if we continue onto the 5th leg of the run, which would be either Pokemon Black, White, Black 2, White 2, one of those. But either way, a 5th generation game. Now, once again, we've been very fortunate. There's been very few opportunities. There's been shots like at Spear Pillar and stuff. There's been chances where we could easily have lost Pokemon, but we haven't yet. We have not. Now we just got to go to the Elite Four and what is argued to be one of the strongest, most difficult champions, Cynthia herself. That Garchomp, in all honesty, we don't have a great answer for Garchomp. We don't. Unfortunately, just the way our team is made up, we just don't. Altaria will lose in a straight up battle, a dragon for dragon. So, yeah. And once again, the thing has Earthquake to really do a heavy damage up against Nidoking. So even if we teach him Ice Beam, we're still in the same boat. So I don't really know what our strategy is going to be going forward. I completely forget how this went, because as I said, I recorded this a couple of months ago. So yeah. And once again, I don't start another game until I finish the leg of another run. So, you know, this is gonna be interesting. This is to find out exactly how we fare against the Sinnoh Elite Four. Once again, the Sinnoh Elite Four not being that strong, but the champion more than making up for it with one of the most devastating lineups of a team. Just absolute destroyers is Cynthia's team. So, yeah, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys back here next time when we do the final part of the Pearl leg of the GenLocke challenge. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Commenting on the Elite Four is going to be... It's going to be an experience, that's for sure. So hopefully we don't end up adding anybody to our graveyard, but we'll have to wait and see. So, that being said, thanks guys so much for watching. Catch you back here next time. Sayonara. Have a good one, everybody.